Good day and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I'm your host, the voice of reason. In our ongoing coverage of the war that is taking place inside of the former state of Ethiopia, the fighting continues at a very intense pace. It would appear that there again appears to be two major areas where the fighting is occurring. One is in the vicinity of Desse as the Tigrayan Defense Forces continue its push towards Desse and Kombolcha. And again, there continues to be heavy fighting in the vicinity of that area as the TDF continue to move south of Hayek. In other areas to the west, fighting is very intense as the Tigrayan Defense Forces have besieged Debark and have pressed south towards Gondar. They have enveloped Debat and continue to attempt to push south while taking key terrain features in between Debat and Debark. That operation continues as this video is being made. Now, we have heard reports of the possibility that the Tigrayan Defense Forces could be making a move towards the western Amhara region with the intent of possibly at some point meeting up with allied groups that are also against the Ethiopian federal government in the Amhara region, and possibly, obviously, having access to the Sudanese border. Now, this strategy, I would say, would be risky. Again, you're moving away from the more populated objectives, such as the larger cities in the south, such as Bahir Dar, Gondar, and then obviously that gravitational pull eventually, possibly, towards Addis Ababa. So I understand the point of moving forces and then possibly gaining control of areas along the border with Sudan. But again, you're looking at an area that is very sparsely populated. It is fairly flat. Obviously, it could possibly leave you open to air attack from the Ethiopian Air Force that is still flying. But more importantly, what would be the main objective? To say that they now control the border area with Sudan, yeah, I guess that would be feasible. But again, is it something that the supply infrastructure of the TDF could maintain, and keeping forces in the west while also focusing on other targets in the south? I'm not sure that would be a prudent decision. It would appear to be something along the lines of maybe the operation that was conducted in Afar. Maybe if there was a military objective in terms of possibly cutting off western Tigray and being able to eventually envelop western Tigray. But the problem with that is the main force structure in western Tigray is being fed by the Eritrean military. So again, it would seem that moving forces into the west and western Amhara would obviously it would give the TDF to capture immense areas of real estate. It would give them the ability to possibly meet up with other armed groups, and as the TDF could possibly work its way down south towards the targets such as the Grand Renaissance Stand. But again, we're talking very large distances that would really take these forces, I believe, away from the real center of the conflict, which is really between Gondar, Tana Lake, and obviously targets in Desse and further south. So again, we've heard this being talked about but will that actually occur? We'll have to see. We've also received information backed by what I would say is photographic evidence of the equipment that the Tigrayan Defense Forces have captured. And I will go through that really quickly in terms of tanks, armored vehicles, and artillery pieces. So this is the equipment that right now that the TDF has been verified to have captured and not destroyed, in which could be in working condition that the TDF could utilize in the ongoing conflict. So first in tanks, it has captured a total of 54 tanks, of which 16 are T-55s, 23 are T-62s, 15 T-72 Bravos, and 1 T-72 UA-1. And obviously the 16 T-72s that were captured are obviously in some of the better units of the Ethiopian army. Armored personnel carriers, that captured 18 Type 89A armored personnel carriers and 3 WZ-551s. And again, these are Chinese-made armored fighting vehicles, armored personnel carriers. The next, artillery. They've been able to capture 37 122 millimeter Delta 30 howitzers, 6 130 millimeter Mike 46 field guns, and 5 155 millimeter AH-1 howitzers. Multiple rocket launchers, 4 107 millimeter Type 63s, 5 122 millimeter BM-21. Those are the Grad launchers, or the infamous Russian Soviet design Grad. 1 300 millimeter AR-2 and 1 300 millimeter A-200. There was also various support vehicles. There's been confirmed photographic evidence of at least 4 man-portable air defense systems that have been captured. 16 ZU-23 truck-mounted anti-aircraft guns, which can also be used in the direct ground attack role. And then obviously some surface-to-air missiles. Surface-to-air missile sites have been captured, and equipment such as a certain amount of radars as well. But again, we don't believe that these are in operation and are being actively utilized. But again, that's the equipment right now. So I mean, you're looking at a total of about 70 armored vehicles, 70 plus armored vehicles that the Tigrayan Defense Force, between tanks and armored personnel carriers, that the Tigrayan Defense Forces has captured, and that is not destroyed armored vehicles. These are simply armored vehicles that have been captured in a working condition. And the amount that have been destroyed, obviously, is either equal to or greater than the listing that I just gave you. But that's where the equipment right now sits in terms of the conventional warfare equipment that the TDF has captured, and obviously we're seeing some of that being utilized by the TDF as it continues its move south towards targets 100 plus kilometers inside of the Amhara region. And again, right now the focal point, it would appear, the 2 heaviest areas of fighting is south of Debark. Debark is under siege. Dabat has either been taken or has been placed under siege, and as you can see from the terrain features running north-south from Gondar south, many of these terrain features have also been captured. These hilltop mountains are under the control of the TDF, and obviously the Amhara paramilitaries and ENDF continue to provide resistance as these forces move south. And again, we're looking at some debate on whether the TDF will move west towards the border with Sudan and possibly move into the western Amhara region. Again, I don't believe that would be an overly prudent decision. I think some elements could move in that direction, but a large-scale force movement, I don't believe would be prudent. Again, I think the focus right now of the conflict is moving south in between Gondar and Dessay, and the environments in between those two cities as they move south. That's where we're at for today. I may have some more information later in the next several hours, and I will certainly report it. Have a great day, everybody.